What is going on, everyone? You guys could probably already tell from my voice, but I am pumped up. The market is finally starting to move. We've been waiting for this for what seems like forever now, but in today's video, we're going to talk about what is happening in the market right now, some of the best setups and predictions for the rest of the week, and some other important things to know. And on top of that, Tom is back. Tom, it's great to have you back on the show. We missed you.
I know, right, Mike? It's been a long time, it feels like, but man, guys, I'm really glad to be back. We gave birth to my baby girl, Christina. She's doing great right now. I read a lot of the comments. I really, really appreciate you guys for all the support and everything like that. I'll be real with you guys. It's been a wild past few days, but I've heard it's been a pretty wild past few days in the stock market as well, Mike, especially today with the way the market sold off. I could not believe how like AMD ended up selling off, SPY, and man, even Nvidia had quite the pullback right back down to huge support. So let's go, guys. But hey, thank you guys for the kind wishes, and I can't wait to get back into things, Mike. You know, it's always refreshing, and don't worry, guys, she's fine. She's just right in the other room.
All right, there we go. But yeah, like you said, we're starting to see some increased movement in the market right now. And as I talked about just a couple days ago, is that we are seeing a pretty giant rotation right now. And that is made very clear by looking at a heat map of just the past week. As we can see on the heat map right now, we have some of the big tech stocks like Microsoft, Google, Meta, Nvidia, Amazon, Tesla. You could throw Apple and AMD in there as well. And they are falling, they're some of the worst performing stocks over the past week. Most of the time, especially over the past year and especially over the past couple months, it has been the exact opposite. So essentially what we're seeing right now is money in just investors taking profits on those big tech stocks that are already up so much, and they're that money is flowing to other areas in the market. These rotations happen time and time again, and there is a ton of opportunity associated with them. But, these opportunities realistically only happen a couple times a year. So I'm super excited about this. And what's also interesting, Tom, is anyone can say, oh, there's a rotation happening, blah, 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 blah. But I have some data that literally shows hedge fund and other institutional net exposure with the Mag 7 stocks, so the top 7 stocks, and you can see that it's actually dropping for basically the first time this year. So that goes to show you right there that, a rotation is happening and it's here to stay, it seems like.
I know, right, Mike? And we've been waiting for this for what seems like forever. I'll be real with you. We've been seeing a lot of flatness over the past couple months, and not necessarily flatness. There's been some slight uptrend going on. Of course, some of it's been great, right? Every now and again, you'll get that big breakout. And then, these stocks really kept going up, but it's nice to see them starting to come down now and start to double top. And what I'm really loving, Mike, is we go out to a daily chart of SPY, right? And we zoom in. Sorry, guys. I have so many lines intraday, but at the top of our chart here, you can see how the stock market's kind of double topping right at this big 459, 460 area. That is a big price action a hit there right at that resistance, and I know a lot of people are going to be watching that. And Mike, that's going to start showing up on a bunch of scanners and tools and everything like that. A bunch of algos are probably going to hit on that resistance as well. So going forward for the next couple days, now we're right back into the chop zone. So I'm really watching this now, the key 453 and 454 supports. If we start to break below there, I think that this pullback could be pretty significant. And there's a lot of stocks right around supports as well. Like Nvidia is right around 450, Apple's right around recent support as well. And there's a lot of stocks just kind of ready to get that big pullback coming in.
Exactly, and we're going to talk about setups more specifically in just a minute, but before we get into that, I did want to touch on earnings for tomorrow because it is the last important earnings day of the week. Basically, we have Broadcom, Lululemon, and DocuSign all in after hours tomorrow, so keep a close eye on these three stocks. We did have some important earnings today as well, with ticker symbol AI, and then GME, and then Chewy, and they've just been all over the place so far, but either way, keep a close eye on these stocks tomorrow as well. Maybe they'll see some earnings continuation moves, but that is that. And then there's also some economic data tomorrow. There's the initial jobless claims 1 hour before market open, and then on Friday, Tom, we have the unemployment rate and non-farm payrolls.
I know, right? And those non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate and even the initial jobless claims will be super important. The feds always look at those, and I've seen the market have a ton of big moves off of that. Like, imagine tomorrow morning if the initial jobless claims come in a little bit negative and the market has a bad reaction, we might end up falling under that decent support that we're sitting at. So that might, show up on a lot of scanners then at market open, and I'm really going to wait for that type of move tomorrow morning. So hopefully it doesn't fall down too much in pre-market, right? Because we learned today that the pre-market move isn't always everything. Man, that pre-market move was great today, Mike. I thought stocks might run it open, and I made sure in our post this morning in Discord to really highlight that a big pre-market move really worries me, and I did not expect a pullback like this, though. That was nuts after the way it ran up.
Yeah, it tells you right then and there that selling pressure is here, and by no means is, at the end of the world, or by no means are stocks about to fall off the face of the earth, but we are seeing a little bit of a shift in sentiment right now, and that comes right into our setups and predictions going forward. So a stock that I've been talking about all week long is MU, right? And Tom, you kind of, I don't want to give your play away yet too early, but basically I've been talking about MU and other chip stocks over the past week in a relatively bearish way, and these chip stocks are starting to fall quicker than almost any other area of the market, especially that has to do with tech stocks. So either way, I'm watching MU to the downside. I think it has a good amount of potential to the downside right here. It's not one of those stocks that's usually up or down 5% in a day, but its movement is normally pretty consistent, and it has been mostly bearish lately. It even tried to gap up this morning, but it gave back all of its gains once the market opened and fell even more. So I'd love to see that, and I'm pretty excited to see how this setup does.
Yeah, I would love it, Mike. Like, if MU starts breaking support, I would love that tomorrow and over the next few days. And, like you said, you didn't want to give my play away. I'm going with AMD at support as well, sitting right around 116.50. And I don't blame you for being bearish, Mike. The way that these chip stocks have been stuck here is insane. And I'm not saying that every single one is super overpriced right now, right? But whenever you look at some of them, like NVIDIA and AMD, it kind of blows your mind. So, especially NVIDIA, of course, as everybody knows, but I'll really watch these supports on AMD. I'm watching 116.50, maybe give or take about 10 or 25 cents there. You can see there's been a lot of bounces, though. Even if we scroll back over, going all the way back to November 13th and 14th, that we were bouncing off support right then with AMD. So if this support breaks, I think that'll be a fantastic setup for tomorrow, and it'll bring even more bearishness into the market. And Mike, it seems like with us being so negative on these chip stocks, SQQQ might even be a good option tomorrow if these chip stocks do fall off.
Yeah, the NASDAQ itself has been slowing down a decent amount. So, I'm not really too surprised either, as after the giant run that not only the NASDAQ has had, but even just like individual tech stocks over the past year as well. So we are going to be talking about SQQQ more in just a couple minutes, so I'll save that when we get to it. But yeah, definitely a great point there. And then another stock that I've been talking about quite a bit lately is Zoom, and it's to the upside. So even though the market itself kind of struggled today, Zoom had a pretty good day as it popped up by 3%. One of the reasons I really like Zoom at this point is because it has basically no correlation to the overall market. Look in the bottom right corner, you can see the basically no correlation, and that's great because if the market goes up or down, Zoom's like, I don't really care what you do, I'm doing my own thing, and that's good. And Zoom is also starting to move with good momentum. It's at a key support level, and the risk to reward to the upside is just pretty good right now, in my opinion. I own this one for the long term, but even for the short term, it has some pretty decent momentum.
Man, it has a ton of momentum, and I've been loving this setup over the past couple weeks. For anybody who watches the live streams, we actually bought Zoom live on the stream the other day, and with some calls right as it started, bouncing off this key trend line. And man, it has done nothing but too amazing over the past 3 to 4 days. So I'm loving Zoom, Mike. This breakout above the trend is awesome. I feel like it's going to finally start to go on a pretty decent uptrend. I don't know exactly what to look at as a high, but I also have been loving Zoom. And for anyone wondering with the live streams, we will be starting those again tomorrow. Obviously with the daughter being born, I had to take a few days off, but those will be live and back up tomorrow, just for everybody wondering. But with my next play, Mike, I'm actually going with Citigroup, a big bank, and this one also popped back above a pretty key trend line today. So I noticed that those banks did very well, but at the same time, it pulled back into close. If it starts to hold support around 47.50 to 47.80, then I'll look at this back up tomorrow. Like if we start to see a nice pop back above 48 in the morning, I will look at these banks in a bullish way. That was a pretty big breakout today after falling down in pre-market, and Mike, the banks have been pretty resilient lately, even more resilient than some of these chip stocks over the past couple weeks.
Oh, yeah. And I love to see it, too. Citigroup's been doing great, like you said. I also own this one for the long term. And, when it goes from basically $38 a share all the way up to almost 49 just over a couple weeks, I'm definitely not complaining.
I know, right? And man, these banks were getting beaten down this year. Everyone's talking about, oh, the rates are high, but that stuff's starting to change a little bit. The Feds are going to be looking to lower rates in March or May of next year, at least by the way the market's been pricing things in. So we got to keep an eye on how the market's pricing that in too over the next few weeks with some of this big economic data coming out. But those banks are awesome to see recovering like this.
There we go. Well, with that being said, Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays of the day. And with the first one, we have Netflix to the downside.
NFLX. Look at those big red candles on this daily chart. There were so many big red candles like this today, Mike. It's not looking good for tomorrow, at least based off how today closed. I'll tell you that. But looking at Netflix, I'll be looking for them to fall under 445. That's a pretty big number there. They're falling under the 448, 447 support in after hours right now, but I'll really look at 445 tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. With the next one, we have SQQQ to the upside. And for those of you who don't know, when SQQQ goes up, that basically means that QQQ, or basically the NASDAQ, is falling down.
Exactly, and for anyone who doesn't know what the NASDAQ is, shame on you, but it but it includes a lot of big tech stocks like Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, stuff like that. Obviously, though, quite a few stocks are involved, but yeah, looking at SQQQ, I'm really watching this recent high, Mike, right around the 1665 to 1680 area up here at the top. If we could break out above that, it would be awesome, but for an intraday move, if it breaks above 1660, that could even be a good opportunity.
Love to see it. All right, and then with the last one, we have Rivian to the upside. This stock was booming right from market open, and then it slowed down a little bit as the day went by, but still it had a great close.
Man, these EV stocks have had a lot of hype lately between Tesla's truck. I know NIO has NIO Day coming up. Rivian looks almost even better than NIO with NIO Day coming, but up 5.57%. What a move. If this continues to bounce off the support like the way it is right now into tomorrow morning, I will look for it to pop above 1880 and then look at some calls. There were some resistance around 1875. So if we get that break right there, you could maybe see a test of 1940 or even higher if it ends up, getting a pretty decent move coming in.
There we go. So we have that upside level for Rivian. If it breaks above that, we're watching it for calls. And then we have the same upside level with SQQQ. Again, these plays are only plays if they break above the level Tom listed. And then last but not least, don't forget about Netflix with the downside level there. If it breaks below that level, we are watching it to the downside. But with that being said, Tom, let's get right into today's $1.485 million trade of the day. The big money play today is with Robinhood, and basically the big money bought, we'll call it $1.5 million worth of the Hood 13 strike call options that expire on January 19th of 2024. Robinhood has been booming lately. Basically, over the past couple weeks, this thing went from under $8 a share all the way up to like $11.50, which is pretty dang good. You know, looking at Hood right now on a longer term chart, it is super oversold, and it has been like channeling between, you could say, like $8 and like $13 per share since like the middle of 2022. Now it's finally starting to move with some good price action, some good volume, and just some good momentum overall. On top of that, we are seeing a rotation out of big tech stocks and into stocks that have been kind of stuck in the mud over the past year, just like Robinhood. So overall, it's definitely not a bad setup. At the same time, I wouldn't say it's the safest setup ever, but, you know, the risk to reward is definitely pretty interesting.
And guys, look at the big money play right here. Ever since they bought in, we've seen a huge move to the upside, and look at how high it's gotten, up to $11.60. That was a big play, entered on November 28th, 2023, honestly, like about a week ago. So, Mike, the big money is huge here on these stocks, and with us seeing more money coming in that expires in January, there might be a bigger breakout here. And I'm glad that you mentioned that channel, because there's been a lot of hits at this very area in the middle of the channel. But there's also been times where Robinhood is broke out of that midpoint and kind of got to that upper area, like 1275 to 13. So I'll be looking for that breakout back up to that area. And there's actually a gap to fill on the daily chart. You know how everybody reacts with gap fills, Mike. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about the gap.
So yeah, either way, keep a close eye on this one going forward. You know, these big money trades are definitely something you don't want to ignore. But another thing worth noting is that as we are seeing an increase in volatility in the market right now, and as it is definitely expected to continue, the best way to capitalize off of that price action is joining the Stocked Up trading floor. Basically, we have everything you could possibly need. If you're into super short-term trading, we have bots and alerts for that. If you're into long-term investing and lower risk stuff, we have bots and technology and information for that. If you just want to chat with Tom and myself all day long, we have you covered there too. Every single week we do a live education session as well, which is happening tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you join before that time, we can get you in on tonight's call. But either way, the Stocked Up trading floor is the place to be for short-term trading. Today's play with a Neo to the upside also worked out pretty well. Basically, our hybrid bot called out some Neo call options at $82 each, and they ran all the way up to $128 each. Of course, not every single play wins because that's impossible, but the bots do a damn good job, and we have a whole army of them, you know? So we have hybrid bot, sniper bot, stocked up bot, surge bot. We have a bunch of different bots, and between all of them, they find a lot of great plays each and every single day. Even looking just at the profits channel, Tom, from today, SM Bot had some great calls with, Netflix put options as those popped by 142%. Some Square call options that popped by 139%, and a whole bunch of other ones. So get in on the action. It's that first link in the description and the comments down below. And Tom, while we're in the Discord, we might as well give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Rusty. He had a great post right above the SM bot for today. And keep up the great work. You've been on fire lately, and I love to see it.
Yeah, great stuff, Rusty. That is a huge move there. He said he got out on all of his QQQ puts, and that was a great play today on that pullback. Nice gain, about $900, about 20%. I love to see it, Rusty. fantastic trade, and keep up the great work, right? I think that over the next few days and couple weeks, we're going to see some pretty big pullbacks coming in, especially with how overextended some of these stocks are. I hate to say it, Mike, but of course the market falls on the day I come back, right? Like I swear, guys, it wasn't my fault.
We're just going to blame you and call it a day, Tom. All right. But on a serious note, though, I'm just super excited that the market is actually moving. Like, I can't believe it, Tom. It feels like forever since we've been stuck in this chop fest. But, we're seeing increased volatility with the market itself, but even more importantly, out of individual stocks. And basically, as volatility increases, that's where a lot of the opportunities increase as well. So, like, if the market's been super slow for you and you've been struggling over like the past week or two, the good news is that it should be a whole lot easier going forward as long as volatility increases, and I'm super pumped up for it. So I'm super excited, and basically if the market's been slow for you over the past couple of weeks, it should get better pretty soon.
Exactly, Mike. And there's going to be a lot of big data points, like we said. There's a lot of earnings coming out. If you're looking to screenshot the earnings chart, screenshot it now. There's a few big ones tomorrow, like AVGO. That's been a pretty hyped up stock over the past year. DocuSign and Lulu are also pretty damn big. And I'll be honest, Mike, even Smith & Wesson down here at the bottom, SWBI. I've been watching that one a lot over the past year or so. So let's go. Hopefully these earnings are pretty good. There's some economic data points like initial jobless claims. Still keep those in mind. But for tomorrow, I'll be looking for these supports to break and capitalize off that volatility, like you said. And it's going to be fun if those supports break, Mike. I'm sure the bots will catch some good plays.
You already know it, but thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to a great day in the market tomorrow. And again, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below to get in on the action and maybe even join us for our live event tonight. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's crush it in the market tomorrow.